Sometimes you do have to cut off even people that claim to love you. Okay. So, but just know that I felt that I did owe many of you an apology, because I have survived severe trauma and I never want to downplay anybody's trauma. Okay. If you can get out of that situation safely, if you can make a plan to do that, please do so. Okay. Please, I am begging you. And in the comments, in the show notes, I am going to be putting resources that you can reach out to. Okay. So there's more notes here. One moment. So I've gone over a little bit of what it feels like when something is off, what it feels like when the frequency is high and everything is good, right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about when it's your family that can't sit with you. Okay. You might feel a little bit of guilt when it comes to distancing yourself or cutting them off. However, I want you to think about this. And this is in no way, shape, or form meant to shame you. Do they feel guilt about how they treat you? Do they feel guilt about the fact that they will not heal? Therefore, they are behaving in a way that is showing you that they are genuinely envious, etc. of you. Whatever trauma that has caused them to behave the way that they have does not give them an excuse to be an asshole. Okay. When I say that we're the villain in somebody's story always, that in no way, shape, or form, inmate Hopper, means that you get to be an awful person to the people that love you. Okay. And I'm using her as an example. If you don't know who she is, that likely means you don't have TikTok. I don't know why TikTok pushes people like that as much as they do, especially because most of us have never even looked this person up. But that's just an example of an awful person who uses a lot of excuses to be awful. Okay. And it doesn't give them an excuse to mistreat you. I don't care what they've been through. I say this as somebody whose trauma began so early in life that I barely remember it. Okay. It doesn't give me a free pass to be awful. And so I use that now to help other people. I understand spiritually that we don't have to help anybody other than ourselves. But the reason why so many of us do it, those of us who really enjoy helping others, is because we want to. It's because we know that there are others that are struggling. And we know that that's part of why we're here. It's not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. My show is not for everybody. I'm for who I'm for. And I want you to get to a point where you no longer care about who doesn't get you. Because I've been there for most of my life. But as somebody who I'll be honest with you, I don't give a damn who doesn't like me. I couldn't care less who doesn't get my message, because it's not for them. It's for you. It's for those of you who get it. It's for those of you who continuously show up for yourselves, because I know how difficult that actually is. And therefore, the people who don't get that, they don't deserve a place at your table. Let them go eat by themselves. Let them go and find their own way. And when they are ready to heal, maybe you all can have a conversation, or maybe not, because you don't have to. Okay. So that's something that I really wanted to emphasize, is that I get when it's your own family that you might feel a level of guilt, especially if they're going to play the victim, especially if they throw that in your face, such as, I hardly ever hear from you, or we used to talk every day. Ask yourself why that is. Take a moment and go over the conversations we've had and ask yourself why that might be. Just saying. Okay. Feel free to say that to them. Feel free to play them this part of my show. Okay. And I want you to focus on protecting your energy and protecting your circle. And what exactly does that mean? It means when you do respond, you're neutral. Even if it's bothering you, you're going to respond in the most neutral way possible. Because you're not going to give them the satisfaction of siphoning your energy. Anytime that you respond to negativity, that person can now siphon your energy. Anytime that you are feeding into, let's say, obviously if you live in the United States, you're used to bad news every day. Guess what that does? It siphons your energy. So that's an example of what I'm referring to. And of course, I've talked about limiting your access. Energetic protection. You can come to witches like myself. Now, I don't actually do spell work for others, but I do know how to do cord cutting, and I do know how to suggest cord cutting. Maybe in the future, I'm not 100% sure. I'll talk about cord cutting, but that will likely only be on my Patreon. Okay. And sometimes you just have to walk away completely if you are safe to do so. Sometimes you do have to cut these people off. If that means changing your number, if that means moving, etc. All right. So it's up to you. What you think is best for you and what is the safest for you is what is most important to me. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our spirit team. Our spirit team consists of our ancestors, our guardian angels, lost pets, because if you, like myself, had a pet for many years, that is by no coincidence. That was a gift from the universe. That was you actually getting to physically have time in your life with one of your spirit guides. Likely the universe felt that that was very much so necessary for you. Okay. And another example would be if you work with deities. I've talked about being the daughter of Santísima, La Santa Muerte. Okay. Now I'm in no way, shape or form telling you that you need to go and work with deities because it's not for everybody. San Judas, for instance, is a deity that many are familiar with. And it might surprise you that a witch like myself has the connection that I have with San Judas, who is Saint Jude. And the connection I have with him is based on the level of kindness that his spirit has. And so that's just an example of working with deities, how they are all different. They all have different purposes in our life, and they are here to help. They want nothing from us other than to essentially have our back because we have their back. And I personally believe that they were assigned to us long before we got here on earth. But that's just my personal belief. You don't have to believe that, and you don't have to work with deities whatsoever. But that are examples of your spirit team in another realm. Your spirit team here on earth, those are your loved ones. Those are your best friends, your coworkers who actually want to see you win, that know, for instance, that you started a small side business and they're always supporting you. Those are your family. Those are your spouses, etc. Okay. That's your spirit team here on this earth with you. And so our spirit team looks different for each of us. And we're lucky to have them. So be sure that you are honoring them. And what do I mean by focusing on honoring them? Well, sometimes when we're going through spiritual awakenings, because you will go through many, you forget about them. Or you start seeing them as, well, that's what they're supposed to do. For instance, I'm going to talk to the gentleman for a second. And the gentleman, I'm not attacking you. Okay. So relax. I'm just pointing something out. Your wife, your girlfriend, is with you because she wants to be. Hopefully. Is with you because she loves you. So honor that. She doesn't owe you anything. Okay. Especially if she's the mother of your children, etc. Even if she's not though. But especially if she is, because your children are seeing that behavior. And if you do have children, keep in mind that they are picking up on your patterns, how you treat others, and then they will go and treat others that way. That's all I'm saying. Ladies, we are kind of expected, especially those of us who are in heteronormative relationships, we are expected to behave a certain way. And sometimes we don't really receive that gratitude. We don't really receive that anything. And we don't always say anything. I want you to say something. I want you to speak up. Okay. Please always speak up. But these are just examples. Okay. What I'm referring to with honoring your spirit team. If you have, for instance, a father that is always there, that always talks about what it is that you do and how great you are, that's your spirit team. Make sure that you are honoring that father. Okay.